20 years ago today, Doctor Who burst back onto our screens for the first time since the 96 TV movie. And it's literally 20 years ago today. I'm Mr. P and I'm here with Mr. Dave.
Hello, yes indeed.
20 years. Do you feel old now? Do you remember when it came back?
Yeah, I mean, I said this to you earlier, didn't I? I can remember sat in the living room with my dad, and I think my sister was there as well, watching the big epic return of Doctor Who after, like you said, many years since the classic series finished in '89 and the '96 TV movie. It was back with a bang.
I must admit, and I've said this to you guys, I kind of felt a little bit, not cheated. I started, anyone that knows me will know from watching our shows and stuff before, my first love of Doctor Who came in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I was watching reruns of the old Tom Baker stuff. Loved it. I loved it so much. I'd wear a scarf, people started calling me the Doctor as a nickname. Loved it. You know, got an email address, the Doctor at, fantastic. Never get that now.
No.
And then all of a sudden it's coming back on screen, and I've just this deep, dark pit of somewhere in my belly, like, oh.
Yeah, it's kind of not yours anymore. It's kind of spread out, and it's everybody's. It's got the grubby hands on it now.
That's just being silly, but my God, did it come back with a bang?
Yeah, and that was key, wasn't it? I think we spoke earlier about the loud Murray Gold, great music, the fast pace.
That's one of the big things that everyone talked about. Yes, who's the Doctor? Will there be a sonic screwdriver? What's the theme music? I mean, yes, the TARDIS and stuff, but the theme music was a big thing.
Yeah. And it was nice to see an update of the cosplay as well. Obviously, we'd had Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy cosplays going around the cons for years, and suddenly people are getting their old leather jackets out, aren't they? And doing Christopher Eccleston, which was really nice.
Yeah, I've still got my leather jacket that I bought because of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Not the same one, but I've still got it.
Yeah.
I wore it the other day, actually. Anyway, 26th of March 2005, with an with a UK viewer rating of 10.8 million.
That's good, isn't it?
For the episode Rose.
Yeah, that's a very good start to the series in terms of viewers.
Currently ranked at 7.5 on IMDb
for
that episode. And I know that Russell T Davies, who we'll come to in a minute, talked about the fact that Billie Piper was a big hook for the show.
Yeah.
Because at the time she was up and coming, she did singing, acting.
Yeah, she was mainly known, you said yesterday, she was mainly known for like pop star, making pop music at that time. But she just started moving into acting. Obviously, this was her first big, massive role, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, and she nailed it.
Yeah, she was very good. And she was the type of person you needed to bring the series back. As we said, with Christopher Eccleston was a great actor for Play the Doctor to bring it back. Rose was also a great companion as well, because it was all very down to earth and very relatable and very grounded, wasn't it? Which
That's
drew
exactly
everybody in.
What I was about to say. That's exactly what her character was. It was grounded. You can relate to her. She's relatable. You know, doing that daily slog every day. Yeah. Then all of a sudden bumps into this bloke. Yeah. And he kind of whisks her off on all kinds of adventures.
And she wasn't just the runaway and screen companion we'd had it in the past as well. She was there kind of getting fully involved and asking the right questions and you know, trying to help the Doctor save the day.
It was her emotions that drove her. She was empathic.
Yeah. Empathetic. Yeah.
Empathic. We're going to Star Trek again. She wore her heart on her sleeve.
Yeah.
You know, she could be in the middle of somewhere terrible, an alien planet, scared stiff, but she sees someone hurting or needs help. That's her main focus then. Isn't it? And that's cool because that's what the Doctor's like.
Yeah. It was a good pairing, wasn't it? And we stated earlier that obviously when Russell T Davies brought this Doctor back, he was kind of wounded, he was hurt, he'd come out of the Time War. It was the last of the Time Lords, Gallifrey gone. And so bringing those elements into it as well. And this girl coming into his life to...
He was an angry Doctor.
Yeah.
You know, you said wounded from the war. He was an angry Doctor. He came out. The whole point of Rose is she cures him, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She heals him over the series. That's it. It comes at the end of the series and he's a lot more...
mellow.
Yeah. he's lost the anger, and she ignites that passion for exploration,
travel and exploration, helping people. It brings the fun back into it again a little bit. He's kind of enjoying himself again, isn't he?
Yeah, and we've said before. I mean, had history have been different and someone else had been the Doctor at the beginning, we might not be saying this. But can you ever see anyone else doing it apart from Chris Eccleston bringing it back?
I don't think you can now. I mean, there were lots of names bandied about at the time, lots of big names as well. But I think Christopher Eccleston, you know, he was kind of a well-respected, well-liked actor, but he wasn't too high up the echelons of the acting tree to overblow the whole thing.
He had a big body of work.
Yeah.
But and good quality work.
Yeah.
But a lot of that work wasn't big blockbuster type movie stuff.
No.
So worldwide, he was fairly unknown.
Yeah.
In the UK, he'd done quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, quite a few movies.
Overseas, but he was fairly unknown. And I say that, you know, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that, you know, he wasn't your Brad Pitt or your Johnny Depp. You know? No. And I think that helps.
Yeah, definitely. So they were kind of both like newly blooded into this, weren't they? Really?
Yeah.
Those two actors.
So the series we had a brand new TARDIS. Love the TARDIS control.
Oh yeah, the good coral effect.
Stop theme, haven't you? Yes, love that TARDIS. I love that grungy kind of look. I like it. Again, and this comes into the series later. It's almost like it's grown, you know. It's like
it's very organic.
Yeah. The Doctor's look goes with it. Or the David Tennant's look goes with it as well, but we'll come to that in a second. So,
yeah, it was kind of an interesting take on it, rather than just having all the monitors and screens that you could tell where they'd come from and been put into a console. It was nice to see something that looked more alien, like
and this comes into the fact that they had a budget for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, okay. I mean, now it's through the roof.
Oh
but back then, even then, it was they actually had a bit of budget they could work with. It weren't great, but it was a lot more
compared to what we were used to. Yeah, it was like wow, wasn't it?
One of the last actual TARDIS sets, apart from the '96 movie, was built on the car park at BBC Centre in a tent.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because they'd knocked it all down and got rid of it all, then realised they needed one, so they quickly put a few bits together, which is why it's so dark. 'Cause they use black sheeting.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know anyone that's ever done that, Dave? They need a set quick, so they use black sheeting.
Yeah, kind of rings a bell somewhere with me. Yes, back in the early days of
a show pod somewhere.
Anyway, people.
That was us, by the way. Spoiler alert. Anyway, so the series came out, and Russell T Davies was in charge, helming it, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was, you know, I think people said at the time he was the perfect person for the job because he had a great love for Doctor Who. He'd followed Doctor Who since he was a kid, always loved it, always wanted it to come back, but didn't really see the possibility. And, you know, it had been a long time, but, you know, he got talking to, you know, BBC heads and, you know, they talked about how they thought they could do it, and the two lines of thinking aligned, and, you know, late 2004 we're getting the whispers of it possibly coming back.
Just a quick mention, only a quick one, about the Sonic, which I think in the pot of Sonics here we've got the toy version, which is so different from the ones we'd seen before that looked like this.
Yeah.
This looked very futuristic again.
Futuristic,
and it was
steampunk.
Small and handy, and it's what you'd expect a little screwdriver type tool to be.
A little device.
You know, it was just visually did, you know, what you wanted it to do to actually. And I loved that. And one thing they did in the first episode, when Chris Eccleston actually uses it, they had this lovely emitting thing that came out from the end, which they took off after the rest. They just left the light instead, didn't they? On the ones after that. But I like that little effect when he first meets her in Rose. But anyway, love the Sonic. That's always a thing for the series going through, isn't it? What's the Sonic like?
And again, that brought back the thing from the classic Who of the toy line. Stuff where now you can produce the figures again, you can produce the Sonics again, and obviously with the popularity of the show, this sold really well.
However, as with everything, It always has its time, and everything dies.
Yes.
And everything comes to an end. And Christopher Eccleston decided he was only going to do one series.
Yeah. So very unfortunate.
We're not going to dig into that right now.
Yeah.
But for one reason or another, he decided he was only going to do one series, which is horrible.
Yeah, because he'd been fantastic.
It was really good. Can you
coin a
imagine
phrase.
if he'd got that second series?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it would have been, to coin a
He
phrase.
could have done it. I mean, you
Fantastic.
look at it now, you look at the scripts, and you think you can imagine him doing it and doing it well still.
Yeah. So we ended with Parting of the Ways. That was on the 18th of June of the same year, 2005, with a rating of 9.0 on IMDb.
Yeah,
for
that's
that one.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
It had gone up. In fact, if you look at that first series, apart from one episode it dips, it just goes up and up and up and up all the way to the end.
Yeah, yeah.
And because you're going with them on a journey, aren't you? That's the point. You're going
With it all the way through. And I think we mentioned earlier as well about the way that people watched TV back then as well. When it came back, it was still all crowd around the TV and watch the latest episode of Doctor Who. It wasn't gone to BBC iPlayer that came a couple of years later, or now obviously we've got Disney Plus where everybody can watch it at midnight the day it comes out. And
well, we
actually
looked up early because we weren't sure. The BBC iPlayer launched in December 2007.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even around then. And streaming media, like we said, like Netflix, Disney, people now have a massive wide range of television options to watch.
Yeah,
Back then it was still a little bit limited.
Yeah, the competition grew as the series went on and evolved, didn't it? But as you said, it's still got really decent viewing figures, even though the landscape was changing.
Yeah, yeah. So Christopher Eccleston left the show in the June, Parting of the Ways. We had a regeneration scene, first one since '96.
Yeah.
And we got David Tennant.
Yes.
Now, what a brilliant choice to
It was
follow
a
up,
very, very good choice.
to carry that mantle. Because I mean, what a job to do.
Yeah, I know. To follow up Chris Eccleston.
I know we're not going to really talk about this because we're just talking about the anniversary of it coming out. But even the next couple, like Matt Smith taking over from Tennant.
Yeah.
What a job he did.
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi had a terrible job, I think, taking over from Matt Smith, but he still held his own.
Yeah.
It's a big job when you've got
is.
someone that good. So.
And I think it kind of mirrored classic Who, whereas Patrick Troughton, it was a little different then because that was the first time they'd ever done it. But
that was necessity.
That was necessity. But if Troughton hadn't have been pretty good and carried the mantle forward from Hartnell, would the series have been as popular and carried on as it did? The same with David Tennant. If he'd not been a good choice, or for whatever reason it had not been good, it could have petered out and died. But he did such a fantastic job. The series just lifted again and carried on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go with that. And I'm very careful to say here when we say the series lifted it. I think the series got better.
Yeah.
But I don't think that takes anything away from what happened before because there wasn't enough time for it to get to that point.
Yeah.
You know, David Tennant ran for 4 or 5 series, several specials, and he's come back recently. Yeah. So he had the time to make that Doctor.
And they'd just come from an experience of making the first series of Doctor Who in 10 odd years. So they had that then to learn from. They learned through Christopher Eccleston's series.
The first series was filmed in blocks. The blocks were all out of order. The whole filming thing was a little bit chaotic as far as we're aware.
Yeah.
Which does lean into why Chris Eccleston decided that perhaps wasn't for him. Yeah. Whether they change that going forward, I don't know. But anyway, we got into we had the regeneration scene that came in the June. And then they filmed The Christmas Invasion, which again got an 8.0 rating on IMDb. That came out, of course, in December 2005.
Good again.
With Rose, and it was lovely because it was almost like a first episode again. It was almost like Rose meeting the Doctor for the first time.
Yeah, they were rediscovering each other again for the first time, wasn't there?
And then there was a break again till the 15th of April 2006 when we went to New Earth with David Tennant's proper full run as the Doctor.
Yeah.
In the second series.
You said yesterday about, obviously Rose had never seen regeneration before, and there's the whole scene about, can you change back and can you? No.
And that was on a small special they did for someone. It was an extra scene.
Yeah, so she didn't know quite what to expect, which kind of mirrored the reaction kind of with Nicola Bryant and with Colin Baker when it's like, ooh, this is a bit different. I'm not quite sure. I've got to get to know this Doctor again and find out the type of person he is. It was very similar, wasn't it?
But yeah, it works. I mean, they did character-wise. They got on really well and well, carried on loving each other. I think is the right thing to say.
Yeah.
And that first series ran all the way through to Doomsday, which came out in July '06. Again, 9.2.
Yeah, still getting good ratings.
Still good ratings. And again, it was Tennant's first series, like Eccleston's was, meets the companion. They get on really well. Loses the companion at the end, or well, she loses the Doctor, but it's the same thing essentially. Unless you count him sending Rose away in the TARDIS, Eccleston. We're not going to dig too much into stories because this is more of a tip of the hat to it. 20 anniversary.
Years later, yeah.
But this is what makes it so good. The stories were good. I don't think I can think in those first two series of any stories that are really, really bad.
No.
I think the visuals were good. I think the acting was good. I think the cast was good. The special guest stars were good.
Yeah, guest stars mentioned earlier. Yeah.
You know, even the character, the figures from history we had at Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So it plays.
We'd never met Charles Dickens, but that was fun. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
And again, Chris Eccleston has this way of twisting and being sassy as the Doctor.
Yeah.
I love it when he does that. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of out of character, but it works so well.
Yeah. And I think when Doctor Who goes back to its roots and goes historical, it's always good fun when we're meeting people like you say, like Dickens, like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know, and you bring in all that historical stuff.
I mean, we didn't get
into
Shakespeare till series 3.
A little bit later on,
which was the Shakespeare Code with Martha James.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, can we just say they brought K9 back as well?
They did.
So we loved that in School Reunion.
And Sarah Jane, of course, as well.
Sarah Jane
Sladen.
along with him. What we're going to do quickly then is just from that first series with Christopher Eccleston and Dave, because we do this thing in some of our videos called Favourites, Geeky Guys Favourites. So we're going to do a Geeky Guys Favourite. What's your favourite episode from Christopher Eccleston?
I think it would have to be, and it's a bit of a cheat because it's a bit of a 2 episodes, but they kind of go together, was The Empty Child and The Doctor Dancers.
Yeah, I like that, which is, it goes back in time to the Blitz, London.
Yeah, which is where we first meet Captain Jack.
Yes.
Who returned lots of times during the series, always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And of course, Richard Wilson is a great guest star as well. Yeah, as another Doctor.
I mean, can you believe it? I don't believe it. Sorry, I had to get that joke in.
Got to be done.
Yeah, Captain Jack Harkness.
Yeah.
John Barrowman. What a wonderful character.
Yeah.
He was kind of brought in to be sort of the brawn, if you like. The Doctor's meant to win by thinking.
Yeah.
Jack was brought in to carry a gun and shoot people.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really want the Doctor doing that. And it works really well. And as a trio, they worked really well together.
Yeah, it was quite a good TARDIS team, wasn't it?
And he keeps coming back all the way through the series, even in Jodie Whittaker's series.
Yeah.
And he finds out she's a woman. Hello, she's a woman.
Yeah.
Woman. That brilliant. I certainly hope they bring some more of John Barrowman back in as Captain Jack.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him again and have that experience with the new Doctor.
As a character, really cool. Captain Jack is lovely. He's brilliant. He's getting a bit older now, though, so they're going to have to be careful about how they do that, I think. But yeah, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, keep coming back to it.
So my favourite episode from Series 1 is actually the last one. I mentioned it earlier, Parting of the Ways, just because it's such this bittersweet moment where the Doctor has to send her away, send the TARDIS away because he knows he's going to die. It's not, I might die, but they've got a bit of something up his sleeve. There's a chance I can get out of this. There is no way he's getting out of this.
No, he's in trouble.
He is not going anywhere. Can't have the TARDIS get taken by the Daleks. And Rose is in trouble and he promised to get her home. So he sends her home. That's it. He's gone. He's going to die. However, Rose doesn't want that to happen.
No.
Finds a way to come back and saves the day, essentially.
Yeah.
And then because saving the day, it means she's absorbed the time vortex, which humans aren't supposed to do.
Not supposed to
No
do
one's
that.
supposed to do that. The Doctor takes it away from her, but in doing so, causes himself to regenerate into David Tennant. So essentially, he dies.
Yeah.
And David Tennant's Doctor is born. We're then in series 2. So again, Geeky Guy's favourite then, Dave. What's your favourite episode from series 2? The first David Tennant series.
Yeah, I think there's a couple, but I think the one that pips it would probably have to be The Girl in the Fireplace.
Right, yeah.
Stephen Moffat, very good episode.
That's one of my 2 favourites. So it's either Girl in the Fireplace or it's School Reunion, which is the one just before.
Yeah, that's good fun.
So yeah, Girl in the Fireplace. That's a very classic feel to it. They turn up somewhere, they wander around, find a problem, try and solve it. But we get a lot of emotion in this episode.
We do.
We're not doing a full episode.
And a horse on a spaceship.
I'm not your mother. Yeah. But I love School Reunion because we've got K9 and we get Sarah Jane Smith back. And I told you my love for Doctor Who started when I was watching Tom Baker and the old ones. And of course, Sarah Jane and a lot of those ones. So I loved watching that with those back in again. And the fact you get this moment where they're like, oh, I'm Sarah Jane Smith. I used to travel with the Doctor. And Rose like, oh, really? He never mentioned you. It's like, really?
No,
and he's like, yes, I must have done. No, lots of times. Nope. But then it's fun because he's walking down the corridor and they both companions have to go off and do something. And he grabs the Sonic and he says, oh, you better go in. And they both help put their hands out to grab it naturally. And he gives it to Sarah Jane Smith. Yeah. Which is interesting because she can't use it.
And Nicky Smith makes that comment, doesn't he? He's like, well, now, mate, Mrs. and the X.
Oh, what a lovely episode.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many you could choose, but for me,
from that first early run, I mean, like you said, it's hard to pick out a bad one out of there. It's just kind of different levels of gold, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. And I mean, look, the people, the cast seem like lovely people as well. We met Christopher Eccleston way back before he started doing conventions. He wasn't really doing them. And to be fair, we'll put the picture on the screen. He does look a little bit tired because he's just been doing a full show on stage where he's been asking questions and doing audience participation for like 2 hours.
Yeah, he rushed up on the train.
Absolutely tired, bless him. But he was so lovely.
Yeah, he was.
And he stayed till the end of the queue. Even though he kept looking, it's like, I'm going to have to go in a minute, I'll miss my train. And he stayed and he signed everything. And
it wasn't a Doctor Who thing, was it? It was just to talk about his acting career. But of course, the Whoniverse got word of it and headed down there with all their DVDs and posters.
It was a very low key event.
Yeah,
we had a friend. We've got a friend who lives down there who's got an
inside got us tickets.
So we've got us tickets. But you know. But then David Tennant, he was lovely.
Yeah, took us a while to meet him. A couple of failed attempts, but he was a popular man.
Oh, there's a story about failed attempts meeting David Tennant. We're not going to talk about that on here.
Refreshing in London. Oh dear.
It's the other one I meant.
Oh, right.
The other one.
The other one.
With the wine.
The wine and the Don Juan, yes.
Anyway.
That's another episode.
It is. We did meet him in the end.
We did.
He was lovely. Billie Piper was nice.
Yeah.
She was lovely. And John Barrowman was just amazing. He was just
such a nice guy.
Really good with the fans.
Yeah, very down to earth. You could just talk to him about life, Doctor Who, whatever you want. He's good. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I think, to be honest, it's really weird. I'm sat here and I'm kind of when putting my notes together. It's how do I summarise this video? How do I summarise what these specifically these first 2 series where Doctor Who got sort of came around about over that like full year and a bit, if you like, year and a half. And it's really difficult because I'm kind of looking back and same as you, Mr. Dave. It's like, oh my God, we feel old now.
Yeah.
But also, the nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. And just one other quick thing, because I was just going to say Murray Gold, the music.
Yes.
That ran through the whole lot.
Yeah.
That music.
Very, very good.
Everybody had a theme, and it played to the heartstrings, every single one of them.
Yeah, and again, it was that was another thing that was added to the fan purchasing line. They're then selling Doctor Who soundtracks because they're that good. You want to buy the CD or buy the track or whatever.
Oh, I bought them all.
Shows you how good they are.
But everybody had a theme, and you knew whether it was their sad theme or whether it was their happy theme, and it really got you.
Yeah,
it got you.
And a lot of them from that early time as well are quite memorable, where you hear them and you know exactly what they are.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor's theme, Rose theme, happy theme, sad theme, comedic theme.
And we mentioned a few episodes here where they really do play a part. You know, Doomsday part in other ways. You hear those themes and you're right back there watching it for the first time. Amazing. I don't think we can really think of anything. Not the word negative is not the word, but we used to do a thing where we did constructive criticism. I don't really think there's that much we can go back and say.
No, not really.
Not really.
No.
I've got nothing.
There's kind of things where you think maybe they could have done this, maybe could have used this, and then you kind of think,
But
I can see why they didn't. It worked as it was. So
I mean, we are big Star Trek fans here, but we're big
Yeah.
Doctor Who fans too. And we just had to come on and say hello to all the fandom, and we love Doctor Who. 20 years since.
And I mentioned earlier as well that, you know, we've changed in those 20 years as well. You know, we're in different jobs at different points of our lives. You know, we're
Less hair here, more hair here, more belly here. This happens after 20 years, Dave.
We've kind of wandered out as a different person 20 years later as well. So
we looked through photos the other day when you came over to HQ, and we were looking at some of the early Geeky Guys stuff, and it's like, oh my God, we were thin.
Those were the days.
Anyway, from two middle-aged blokes sat on a sofa reminiscing about one of their favourite TV shows, we thank you for joining us.
Indeedy.
Happy birthday to the revamped or relaunched Doctor Who from 2005.
Yeah, happy 20th to New Who.
New Who, or the golden era of Who, as I like.
And now, of
to call
course, we're on New Who.
New.
Yes, we're following that New Earth, New York, New Who.
Still fairly popular.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments about your thoughts about this sort of era of Doctor Who, let us know. Obviously, we've not gone on and talked about too much about like Matt Smith, Capaldi, Whittaker, or whatever, because we're just talking about the relaunch. This is the anniversary, but we love it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can catch all our Geeky Guys stuff at geekyguys.co.uk and follow our socials. Mr. Dave.
Yes, happy 20th New Who, and lots of great memories, and still going strong. So let's hope it can continue for another 20 years.
And then we'll be two really old blokes sat on a sofa.
Very, very old blokes.
Probably with hot chocolate, cocoa and walking sticks.
Well, yes, we'll be like Matt Smith with a big coat and the scarf and the grey hair and the sticks, talking about Doctor Who 40 years later.
Join us then. Until then, we'll catch you later. Bye, guys.